It's my privilege to welcome up to the stage a bold new chapter for conservation agriculture. We've got Robert Sakata and Evanne Caviness. Robert Sakata is the Water Policy Advisor for the Colorado Department of Agriculture, and Evanne Caviness is the Director of Conservation Division of the Colorado Department of Ag as well. So please give them a welcome.
Well, thanks, Elaine. It's a pleasure to be here. Really, thanks again, Steve and Elaine and Mo. Let's give them another round of applause. They really deserve it. Well, it's really a pleasure to be here. I can't believe, Steve, that you've invited me back 3 times. Wow. And I keep coming. I know. I haven't said no. If you guys remember, for those of you that were here last year, I promised that I took the word no out of my vocabulary because I really wanted to be engaged in as many water conversations around the state as I could, because I felt like, as the new Ag Water Policy Advisor, that was going to be critical for me to really engage personally with everybody. And it's really been an amazing first year on the road. I think I probably drove across the Colorado about 25,000 miles all across the state, going to as many water conservancy, conservation meetings as I can, attending what roundtables I can. And it's really, really been insightful. First of all, though, I do want to know, by a show of hands, who are farmers and ranchers here? Raise your hand if you're a farmer and rancher. Great. Well, thank you, guys. Now, as the Department of Ag, we are really here to serve you. Foremost, that's the main point that I want to make across to you, is that if there's anything, it doesn't matter whether it's water or something else that you feel the Department of Ag can be of assistance to you, we really want to be there for you. And second of all, is I think we should thank them for everything they do. All right, let's see. Thanks. So again, traveling the state the 25,000 miles, just real briefly, because I want to reserve more of the time for Evan. It's really been interesting as I traveled the state that on this slide I could have easily just put not enough water, right? That's the issue that all of us are facing. But it really has manifested itself into really unique challenges for each basin and sometimes each sub-basin. Because of what? Because of the infrastructure that's there. You know, how easy is it to move that water around throughout that basin? Number 2, what are the current uses and the historic uses of that water in the basin? And then also the characters, the people involved in that. And so I've really come to the realization too that the work that you're doing, the work that Southwest is doing, is really critical. Because I think for us to come up with the best solutions, it really needs to be the communities coming up with those answers. And so I'm really excited by the work that you all are doing. Really been involved as part of my role to work with the SWCD. These are some of the action plans that the Department of Ag is involved with. I highlight the number 5 and 6 ones are really ones that these 10 strategies to really secure irrigated agriculture is really important. I think I shared the figures with you last year that irrigated ag in Colorado has gone down by over 32%. So we really need to focus on how we're going to protect irrigated agriculture. But I've also volunteered at the Department of Ag to lead another, something that's really dear and near to my heart, is really ag behavioral health. The Department of Ag has set up an ag behavioral health work group. We're meeting once a month to really identify, again, how communities can really come forward to help the agriculture community. I loved our panel before lunch. You women are the strength, and I really, the emotional question got to me, because it really is interesting how emotions are so important, and how really, for some of us stubborn old farmers, we just can't deal with it, right? It was interesting as I've been in this role and I've started to take some of this behavioral health training, because I'm not a behavioral health expert, I'm a farmer at heart. But one of the training exercises, they identified these 8 spheres of emotional well-being. And as I looked at this, it really highlighted to me why agriculture is in this unique space, and why farmers and ranchers sometimes have such difficulty in dealing with emotional stress. If you look at this, whether it's your occupation, whether it's your social sphere, whether it's your income, for many people that have outside jobs, those are different parts of their lives. You know, their friends may be different from their work colleagues. Their income may be scattered off among different things. But for farmers and ranchers, if something happens on the farm, we don't have that emotional resiliency. It's affecting all of those emotional wellness spheres. And so I'm really excited to lead this effort. Our Ag Behavioral Health Work Group meetings are online. You're all welcome to join, and recordings are there as well. If there's things that are working in your communities that you think it'd be important for the rest of the state to try to incorporate, please reach out to us. That's part of the goal of this work group, is to see what's working, what's not, and how we can help communities develop those resources as we move forward. But really, thank you for everything all of you guys do. That's really important. And now it's really my honor and pleasure to really introduce our new director of our conservation division. Evan, I'll let you take it away and introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Robert is such an asset to the Department of Agriculture, so I am really honored to get to stand up here next to him. I have a confession. This is the largest group I've ever spoken in front of, so I'm a little bit nervous, but clearly, as you may see from my slide, you're all my neighbors, so what a great foray into public speaking to be here with all of you. So yeah, like Robert said, my name is Evanne Caviness. I'm from Bayfield, Colorado. I live there with my husband and my 3 children. We have a cow, calf, and hay operation where we raise hay, cattle, hogs, and children, really as a partnership. I am blessed beyond belief to have the husband that I have who empowers me to do my off-farm job while he helps with the on-farm job, and that includes the kiddos today. So a bit of my background. I've been in agriculture my whole life. It goes back in my family for generations and generations. On my paternal side, indigenous Mexican, so my family were always farm workers, but I didn't come from a land ownership background. So when my husband and I decided we wanted to make a go in agriculture, we didn't have money and we didn't have land. And to top it off, we were both teachers, so disposable income was really not there, but it was something that we were committed to seeing through. And we've been real scrappy with it. This is our 6th year now in operation, and we bought 35 acres in Bayfield this last year, which feels like just a dream come true, to be able to have some stake and ownership in my community that I've called home, gone to school through, and now send my kids to school through. And the reason I share this is, raising now the 6th generation on my husband's side to La Plata and Montezuma County in this community, is it really informs my story and also my passion for leadership coming into the Department of Agriculture. There's a clicker. There we go. So let's talk a little bit about my division for those of you who may not be as familiar. So conservation services within the Department of Agriculture is pretty big. It's about 25-ish years old now, but really in the last 5 years it has grown exponentially. So we house the soil health program, which is run through our conservation districts and through partner organizations, our ag water quality program, key mitigation permits, weed-free forage, the State Conservation Board, which is, I think, one of the coolest parts, and we've got some of our friends from conservation districts here who I got to eat breakfast with. That's really the grassroots of conservation work throughout the state, so we're real fortunate to get to partner with them at CDA. We also house the Palisade Insectary. For those of you who haven't gotten to see it, I encourage you to go meet our bug scientists at least one time. It is incredible, the work that they do of turning heady science into actionable biocontrol for producers, and their relationship with the Palisade peach growers and distributing literally bags of bugs every year in the millions to attack the peach moth. So incredible. We also are a grant-making division, so these are a couple that I'd love to raise to your attention because they're going to be opening their cycles this month. They're all on the sort of same cycle. We've got renewable energy grants, so that includes our Acre 3 program, which is focused on farm energy resilience, agrivoltaics, which is really focused on demonstration projects that keep ag producers working in and around solar arrays, so we're funding those projects. And then these are new. Within our division, we're opening a new grant opportunity that's really kind of a niche in our state in that it's a climate resiliency grant. So what does that mean? producers will be able to access funds for projects that help them either build back stronger after experiencing a climate disaster, or if they're in an at-risk area, to be prepared. So we're looking to fund things from road construction to rural areas of the property to be able to, in a hurry, vacate livestock. We're talking, restoration work on creek banks. We're talking really the whole gamut as it comes to climate-related impacts. We're looking to fund people to be resilient in the face of a changing climate. So I would encourage you to check that out and connect with your folks who would want to apply. And then the next one is we're getting to the end of the rulemaking process for the Ag Stewardship Tax Credit. This is a refundable tax credit up to $3 million a year that will start in 2026 for farmers and ranchers to be refunded and paid for conservation practices. And that has been just an incredible process of listening to stakeholders and producers across the state to make that program work for them. And we're still taking feedback, so if you haven't had a chance to put your 2 cents into what that should look like, you can still reach out to our team, and I would encourage you to do so. So that's a little bit about where we're at, but I want to share some about my vision and perspective moving forward. You can see that little guy there. That's my son Sawyer. He is the next generation of agriculture. Coming into this leadership role, like I said, I think my story really informs a lot of my vision, and it's not just my story alone. Ag land is at risk, and ag water is at risk. And, we have seen hundreds of thousands of acres going out of production in the last even 15 years. If you ever want to get a little depressed, go to the American Farmland Trust website. It'll tell you the story. And the trouble is that we can't do anything conservation related in agriculture if there's no land to do it on. And, in the case of my family, we're just one small example, but when I left my home in Bayfield, came down the Buck Highway to be with you here all today, there was a herd of elk in our pasture. And there's more at risk than just resilient local food systems when we take away irrigated agriculture or ag land. It's ecosystems, it's resilient rural communities, it's identity, it's heritage, it's so many things that I clearly am very passionate about. And I just want to share with you all that it is my intention to do my darndest to work with smart people across the state to see where can CDA play a role in protecting farmland and farm water where it is most important to communities. Because at the rate things are going, I'll share a little personal story with you guys. Town of Bayfield has our property slated for moderate residential density in their plan for the town. And they didn't ask us our opinion about that. They just said that's what's happening. And I think until we really come together as a community and as a state and name what's important to us, we're going to continue to see conversations happening without the agricultural perspective. So that's a little bit about me and what I care about. But Robert and I did want to leave it open for questions, so we'll turn the mic over to you all. We can sit down. You can just kind of stand like this.
Any questions? Uh-oh. There's a question. I did want to mention something. I forgot something here. Jason Ullman, would you like to stand, please? We have a really special, he's back there working, right? Our state engineer is here, Jason Ullman. And somebody asked me about my t-shirt. Jason, I'm going to give you one of my t-shirts, of course, that you know very well, that says, "Without farmer, you'd be hungry, naked, and sober." So, thanks, Jason. Thanks for taking the time to be here. Really appreciate it.
Steve Harris. My question deals with buy and dry. It's not really buy and dry, but system conservation in the Colorado River Basin, where you pay farmers not to grow for a certain period of time, year at a time. My concern is, well, what you guys' position is, but that could be a precursor to buy and dry. The amount of water that's saved by not irrigating is so minor compared to what's needed in the Colorado River Basin. I don't see that the benefit cost there is beneficial enough. Does the Department of Ag have a position on that, or are you just staying out of it? What are you thinking about there? I'm putting you on the spot.
Thanks, Steve.
I'd like to see you say no. I don't think it's a good idea, but you can go where you want to.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, so I forgot to practice this disclaimer that these are my opinions and not those of the state of Colorado or the governor or the Department of Ag. But you know, I was lucky enough to be on the CWCB when we were working through the drought management concept, which, you know, is similar to what we're talking about on SCPP. And I thought there was really important discussions that happened there, especially, and I think, you know, especially those discussions about equity, how it really is going to impact local communities. And that's something that we're not considering at all with the system conservation program right now, you know, and that's, I was on the CWCB when we approved that program to be a conservation program. So entities would not be under risk of forfeiture or abandonment of their water rights by participating. And personally, again, this is personally not the department or anything. Personally, the only reason that I voted in favor of being a conservation program is because, one, I saw it as a true pilot program, so we could learn lessons and understand exactly how little or how much water we could garner from that effort. What were the pros and cons of those efforts, and that I hope nobody doesn't get mad, and Jason, don't get mad at me, is that we weren't shepherding that water. That water was really available for the communities to use, for somebody else to use, under the prior appropriation system. And personally, that's the only reason why I approved it, because I was a little concerned about that. What you were saying is that the impact of the communities when we start drying this land up. The concept, though, as a farmer, I could understand the benefits of the concept of having water as another alternative crop, essentially, another source of income. I would much rather have the opportunity for growers to be paid for that than to fall into a point where all of a sudden it's taken away because we don't have enough. So I think that's one of the ideas or the discussions we have to talk about is, are we somehow being proactive to prevent a situation where all of a sudden the water is actually taken away without any compensation? So we have a lot to learn. I am personally not in favor or opposed to to that work, but I think we really have to understand the impacts and the implications that program has and understand it better. Did I dance around that good enough for you?
You did a good job dancing around.
Thanks. Question? Yep.
Thank you. Ken Curtis. You both mentioned future farmers and future careers. Can you expand on what you may be doing for our next generations? It's certainly needed. Thank you.
Yeah, I can speak to that a bit. So that's actually one of the 5 key priorities at CDA is the next generation. And one of the coolest things I think the Department of Agriculture is doing right now is they've partnered with First Southwest Bank on a first generation sort of young or beginning agricultural producer loan program up to $400,000 with a fixed low interest rate. And so that access to capital is a real barrier for up and coming producers. And I'm going to be honest, $400,000 doesn't scratch the surface of what irrigated land is going to cost a producer who's breaking in, but I think it's a good start. And then we've also got the next gen, there's an internship program where farmers and ranchers across the state can get, I think it's up to $5,000 in payment that they can then use to hire an intern to do, again, mentorship is key. My husband and I have had an invaluable mentor. If anyone knows Alan Tone, he'll probably be kind of curmudgeon-y if I say that I said his name on stage. But that partnership and mentorship is so critical for the next generation. Not just if you're new to ag too. I mean, gosh, on any individual property, you got to bang the pump just right to get it to work, and sometimes you need somebody who's able to teach you that. So it's definitely a high priority. And I'd say within my own division, it's something that I am thinking through of how can we pivot within conservation services to continue those goals.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Thanks for that question. And I go back to the old saying too, is in the sense that the best way to keep water on farms is to make sure that farmers are earning a decent living. And I think that'll help more than anything for our youth being interested in farming. Because we're seeing so many young people leave because they see how hard their parents or other farmers have worked and struggling financially. So that's part of the thing the Department of Ag is working on their marketing program, is how we can promote that. Again, I apologize, Greg Felt, that I always pick on you in Chaffee County, but your amazing Chaffee Common Ground work, offering annual payments to farmers, the landowners, to keep it in agriculture. I think the communities, we need to educate the communities all the eco benefits that farmers and ranchers are providing, and that we really need to be financially rewarded for those efforts, because it is. And I think I said this in my presentation here 2 years ago, is that for me, growing vegetables, it was a money-losing operation here in Colorado. And I don't know, is Raj still here about the AI? That actually scares me a little bit, because for mid and small-sized farmers, it's hard to compete against that. Our cost of production are a little higher, but the diversity and the resiliency of having a wide spectrum of where our food is produced, I think is important for our country, and something that I'm really willing to fight for, and thinking that as a population we should be willing to financially support somehow. So thanks for the question, Ken.
We see more hands, but we're getting the times out. But please know that if you want to connect, we'd love to talk to you. Thank you all so much. I don't feel scared to speak anymore.
We're gonna do a selfie.
Oh, sure. Social media.